Mm. Damn. And we're back. Thursdays, I have the pleasure of being joined by Jessica Black, aka She Knows Arsenal. Don't know if you don't know about her. I can't imagine you don't, but follow her on her socials, do all of that. How you doing? It's great to be a Gooner.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why aren't you as happy as me? Why aren't you as gassed as me? Why do you sound downbeat? What's going on?
I don't know.
Let us know. No, it feels like you're not letting on about something. What's got your concerns, man?
I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I'm happy that we won yesterday, but I feel like this tie should kind of be over. I'm a little annoyed that it's not. But it's cool that we won the game, I guess.
I can see in your face and in your tone that I think from what I just got from that is I think we feel the same way in that A, we're happy to win the leg and obviously take it back to the Emirates. B, it weren't necessarily our best of performances, but we won. There probably should have been more daylight. The goals we conceded were shambolic. It was happy to score. Am I right or wrong in that?
Yeah, for sure. Like we let Garnacho score 2 goals. Like that's never gonna fly with me ever. I was like, we let some of the most shit wingers score against us at times.
We love
Like,
doing charity work, man.
it's
We love
just
it.
annoying. I mean, it's weird because it feels like, how could you be upset? We're top of this, we're top of this, we're top of this. And it's like, I just think we could be in a better position at times, we make it a little bit more difficult. Like, yeah, this coupled up probably with the Liverpool game makes me a little bit like, we could be 8 points clear and this tie could be done, and I know that's like, not everything is perfect, but I don't know. I feel like we could be just a little bit safer at this point, but maybe that's just my nervousness, about
It probably is your nervousness. Some of it is probably not valid. Some of it is probably valid because
Yeah.
we're all watching the same games. There is probably an element of PTSD, and while we're
Yeah.
happy, there's many gears that we have to go up. Like, what concerns you then? Did it talk to me about the game? Like, let me get your overall thoughts. Better yet, before I, do what I do, man. Like, how did you feel about the game in particular?
I feel like, we every time we got the 2-0 gap, we sat off of them and then got sloppy, and then they cut the lead down to 1. I don't know what it is with us this season where it seems like we score and we don't, stick just kind of like finish off the job. There were opportunities at 3-1 to make it 4-1 and end the game. And we couldn't do that. And then we gave up another late-ish goal. I want to say that Garnacho scored somewhere around the 80th minute. And I'm like, these late goals are killing us. It makes it so that, if you're 4-1 up, of course, Chelsea are going to come to the Emirates and, try, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near what they're going to try to do at 3-2. Their whole mindset is going to be, if we just get 1, it's even, and then it's everything to play for. And so I just think it's just like a pattern this season of these late goals are kind of killing us. I don't know why we can't just kill the game off. And maybe a little bit of hindsight, maybe we should have played Raya. I don't necessarily think that goal happens with Raya in the goal. Not that I think Kepa was terrible or anything like that. I just think Raya punches that shit out. Like, he doesn't punch it right into, Garnacho's path, but that's neither here nor there with what we could have ended this tie. And that's just kind of where I'm at this morning. We're still in a good position for everything. But I'm just like, damn, could have ended that shit. But shout out to Zubi.
We'll get onto him. Don't listen. We are going to
Player.
spread that PR and that propaganda, because I'm finally, with me and you disagree on plenty of things, but when we agree, we flipping agree, and both of us have been frontline with Zubi, but he'll have his segment. Gyokeres will have his segment. I was going to ask you about Kepa, but you mentioned it. Yeah, 1, did you think Kepa would have started today? And 2, yesterday, and 2, obviously we're not in the final yet, but we've got 1 foot there. Assuming we get to the final, do you think Arteta will go Raya or Kepa?
He better not. Like,
why though? Like, what if Kepa?
I don't think he should have started this. I don't think he should have started this round anyway. Like, I would have went with as strong as possible. It is Chelsea at the end of the day. There were different opportunities to rotate, but we went super strong, and the only position that we didn't go super strong in was goalkeeper. So I don't know. Maybe he felt like Ryan needed a break. That's fair enough. I don't know what's going on with them in terms of what their fitness levels are. That's fine. But if we do end up getting to the final, I'm so sorry. You must sit, Kepa. Like, Raya must play. Like, let's be
I
so
say
ridiculous.
Kepa, man. I want to go with Raya for everything you said, but I genuinely think he will go with Kepa. Obviously, there's as much as the manager tells us, there's competition. It's all an even playing field. There's clearly a hierarchy. I'm with you in the sense that I would have started Raya. But that's why I think Kepa's going to play, because if Kepa's got you all the way there, even if, God forbid, Chelsea draw parity in the second leg and it's a penalty shootout and Kepa's a hero, that's surely going to give more confirmation. I want to stick on Kepa, yeah. Like, I'm not, it's not that I'm not convinced with him, because I don't want to put too much onto him. I'm not really down for that and whatnot. I don't blame you for the goal we conceded against Portsmouth, but I felt you kind of saved it into the path for the Portsmouth player on the Sunday. And I think yesterday, I'm not going to lie, there's several sequences, but I think Ozil's done a silly flick. Odegaard's done a silly flick. Zubimendi's lost his foot in. Our defense is at 6s and 7s. And by the time it gets to Kepa, I did want a bit more. Granted, the keeper's the last line of defense, but I did want a bit more. The second, I don't know what he's doing, because we're the set piece kings, in it. We scored from set pieces again yesterday. But people forget it's in both ends. If Nicholas Hover's going to be happy about the goal we scored, he's going to be vexed about the one we conceded. And I'm just not. I mean, Raya does have ants in his pants at times, yeah, but I think he just makes me feel secure. He gives me a lot of calmness. I wouldn't say Kepa makes me nervous, but he does, like his shot stopping, his commanding of his area, as you mentioned, the corner. Am I doing too much for a second choice keeper, or is there any validities? Like, am I piling too much?
No, I think that Kepa is a good number 2, but he is a number 2. And when you go into a game like this, and you could have put the game to bed, and the last goal that they scored was, you look at it and you can see that the goalkeeper could have done better. You see why he's the number 2. And if you had the opportunity to play your number 1, you will question that, so I'm questioning that, but had we got out with 4-1, no, I wouldn't have questioned it. It's all hindsight at the end of the day. And I just hope that Arteta goes in with his best foot forward in the final, should we make it, because Kepa is it's not that he's bad. He's just a number 2. And I don't understand why in a final you wouldn't put sentiment aside and, oh, this was your tournament and all that kind of stuff, because technically the people that started this tournament were like Ethan. Ethan started this particular cup, right? And he did really well to get us to like this point, and he was pushed to the bench, so I expect Kepa.
Or not in the squad, full stop, like yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. So I expect Kepa to go to the bench respectfully, like it's no hate whatsoever. And there's probably plenty of things we could have done better throughout the game that didn't have anything to do with Kepa. I'm not blaming him for the game.
Let me know, man. Like, we want to get all your thoughts, man. What could we have done better? What did we do good? What's your thoughts on the game in totality, man? Leave no stone unturned, man.
I just think, wrestling control of a game after we score. I think we allowed Chelsea to get their tails up after every goal that we scored.
Facts.
Instead of putting them to the sword and just ending it and just going ahead and getting that, at 2-0, getting that 3-0, at 3-1, getting 4-1. They just kind of were able to wrestle control back. And I feel like when they were having waves kind of half chancy moments before the set piece. And I think that's where starts the nervousness, and then people are not concentrating. I think there was some sloppiness. So it's just that, I thought the first half, Chelsea, to me, were the better team. We just happened to score that goal early. So I don't know what it is about the team, and it just doesn't feel like we're able to, just kill off teams at times. And maybe I'm asking for too much, but Chelsea were missing 3 of their best players, if not their 3 best players, and they should have been dead and buried, and they're not. So we just, on February 3rd, just handle business, because, it really should have been dead and buried to me, but
go on.
I do think that there are some positives, it's not all negative. Gyokeres, no matter how it came, getting a goal and assist is positive, because he's going to continue to play. Arteta hasn't taken him out of the competition. He hasn't shunted him to the side as soon as anybody was fit. He's stuck with him, and he got a goal and assist. Cool. perfect. And I think the other positive for me is just, and I'm sure you'll say your piece too, is just, I'm sorry, Zubimendi is just a class act. Like, he's just more than anything I could have dreamed of from a DM's perspective. And again, where maybe there's times where he's not as physically dominating as people would like, what you get on the flip side is just so valuable. He scores goals, he creates moments. And I just love him. Like, he had Enzo Fernandez so rattled at the end of that game.
I don't
Like,
know what's
so
going on with
hurt.
that Enzo Youth, man, because I never saw you. Like, Saliba was trying to be Trossard and Saka. Obviously, Zubimendi, I don't think he had a first half to scream and shout about, but when he turned it on, he was good. Rice on his birthday, great assist. Odegaard might have made a mistake, and the one time I've been critical of Odegaard in a hot minute, I think yesterday, they were all more prominent than Enzo. But Enzo, one thing I'll give for Enzo Fernandez, especially someone that didn't grow up in England, yeah, he has mastered the art of performances, stinky, do the little fight thing. Oh, he's proper Chelsea, he's down for it. And respectfully, pick on someone that actually wants to fight. Zubimendi's laughing in your face, so he doesn't rate you. And Zubimendi's a good guy. He's not really trying to beef you. Before we get into Zubimendi and Gyokeres, yeah, you said something, and I don't want to lose my trail of thought. Obviously, we know it's a cup game and all of those things, but I do think you on your channel, me on my channel, any Arsenal fan around the world, and definitely whenever me and you link up, yeah, even when we win, we kind of are talking about the same things, not putting daylight between the sides, not killing off games. You know me, I've been very critical about how I think we're a good defensive side this season. A few years ago, we was a great defensive side.
Yeah.
Why we could keep talking about the same things, regardless of who's out there? Because I remember people saying, oh, there's no Magalhaes. When he's back, it's going to be there, even though it was here when he was there, and it's obviously when he wasn't and whatnot. Why did the game, like, what is it for you? Like, what is it? Mentality? Obviously, sometimes it's probably been not killing the chances. Yesterday was probably a bit of both. Why does it feel like we keep talking about that? Barring the champs, because the Champions League, we've actually done what we're calling for, but the Prem and the League Cup, we've been saying this, innit? So, like, why? Obviously, you're not the coach, but why do we keep, like, what's going on?
I mean, outside of like the Wolves, like last minute kind of goal, I feel like they've all followed the same program where we've had chances, we haven't killed off the game, and then we get into that weird spot around the 70th minute where we make some defensive subs, we start to get more defensive, the other team starts to push because they know that it's just a goal. It's just a goal. Like, they're only 2-1 up, they're only 1-0 up, they're only whatever, and I feel like it follows that same pattern where we don't finish off our chances. They understand that there's time left. They push, and then we let them have these waves of half chances and little moments where you see it. The teams, like, they get a little half chance, and then all of a sudden they're confident. Now. Yeah, they get a couple little moments, and then we just kind of collapse, and give up a goal. And I just think we're at a point now in the process, per se, where at some point the attack is going to have to outperform the defense. I don't think they're going to be able to keep they've still kept quite a few clean sheets this season, by the way. They're still like the best defense in the league, by the way, but they're not keeping clean sheets at the clip that they were a year ago. So at some point the attack, and when I say the attack, I don't just mean the attackers, I mean Arsenal as an attacking force.
A whole attacking ethos.
100, like, they need to kill off games. When they have those moments where we're on top of them, when we score a goal, you need to score the next one in the next 5 minutes. Kill the game off, end it. There's too many games where we go in 1-0 at halftime, 0-0 at halftime. It's just not enough. And you can't do it every single game, but it's so rare that we've done it this season. And I think that's where it's coming from. And I just don't think the team is able to keep those level of clean sheets, not because they're not good, but because it was unsustainable to keep a clean sheet almost every single game.
And no shots on target as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I think it is. It's less that we're slipping. It's more so that, like, there's just like a push and pull of a game at times where if you just get 2 goals, and it's 2-0
at bad and the ugly on a frequent basis with us, man.
Yeah, if it's 2-0 at the 70th minute, that's totally different than 2-1 or 1-0. That's just, that's all I'm asking. If can we just kill somebody off in the first half? Anyone. Like, not, I don't expect us to do it with every single team, but someone.
I make you right, man. And even for me, like you said a point, it made me think. One thing I was very critical of in the first half was I think there was a lot of gaps. I can't tell you if that's Arteta or the players, but I think there was a lot of gaps. I think Chelsea only really I only felt Chelsea was scary on the counter attack, mainly because of what we're doing. I actually think we pressed well. I think, Chelsea playing out from the back is an accident waiting to happen, but it was an indifferent half. Now, both teams statistically, the first 15 minutes of the second half, they start well. So it doesn't surprise me that we scored and then they scored. But then I make you right in that obviously no one wants to concede. No one's trying to concede on purpose, but you're most vulnerable when you've just conceded. I can't remember for the life of me if it was the first or second goal we scored, but it felt like before me or you have even like put our bums back on our seats because we've scored, they've went and got a corner. And I think Mikel Arteta mentioned that. So I think it's a bit of everything. It's street smartness, it's killing games. Obviously, if you can score goals, you kind of kill teams' morale and spirit. Yesterday was a bit of just fuck ups from players individually. I do feel it's therefore happened at the Emirates, but I do feel on the road, Jess, I'm seeing this a lot more than away from home, and that does naturally concern me. So we're going to have to bear in mind, we're going to have to be better. I want to ask about some individuals, Now, me and you love Zubi, you've said it there. I actually don't think he was anything to scream and shout about in the first half. I think Odegaard did him dirty because he obviously he slipped. But when he turned it on. Like many people will focus on his goal because Gyokeres assisted him. But it was a fantastic passage of play. He's actually been involved in that. I only mentioned that to ask you this, Obviously, I look at Zubi as Rodri. Like, he's not Rodri, but I look at him like you've come as a 6. You're too intelligent and too good not to participate in all phases of play. Probably statistically now, you've scored the most goals you've scored in a single season at Sociedad, at Arsenal, innit? Do you think he's going to get the Declan Rice treatment? And what I mean by that is we know Rice does everything. Do you see a bit of that with Zubi? Because I actually feel this is 5 out of 10 Zubi. This is a man that's just signed for the club, just getting warm, just getting his feet under the door, just getting warm. I think if you think this is a good Zubi, in time to come, Zubi is going to look meaty compared to what I think is to come. But do you think he's going to get the Rice treatment?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think Declan's first season with us was not as good as the following seasons. Like, I just think, it takes time to melt into what we're trying to do and understand what we're about. And for him to be what he is right now only speaks volumes to what the level of the player is. There were a lot of questions from a lot of people around, was he good enough for the Premier League? Could he adapt? Yeah, is he special enough? And I think we're starting to see that he has it. I do think his second season will probably be better than his first, but my goodness, the first one to me is impressive. It's just, I don't know what else to say about him. I just think he's so important to what we're doing. He's the only player that's come in this past summer that is an established starter, one of the first names on the team sheet. Everybody else is just kind of involved-ish. He is a first name on the team sheet, one of them. So yeah, I love him. He's so good. And he's only going to get better from here. And I think people are starting to notice him because he pops up in so many interesting positions.
You see, in the first half, the forward runs he was making, there was one moment where I actually thought before the camera panned, I thought it was going to be Gyokeres. I was like, what the fuck is Zubi doing there? And he just didn't quite have the strength to make any meal of it. But I make you right, Jess. It just screams volumes about his intelligence, about how he's able to do things. And I wouldn't say he's a blank canvas, but it's like a semi-blank canvas. There's a lot more to come from the guy, man.
I've also noticed in the last couple games too, we've worked a lot on. You can tell we've worked a lot on our pressing. Our pressing in the last couple of games has been really good. Have we capitalized on it? No, but our pressing has been really good. But also these runs that Zubi and Saliba, oddly enough, are making from deep positions are allowing us to open up teams. If we could just get the final ball correct at times, or when you do get that cross, get the shot off early, we could be really dangerous, because that is just you can tell that Arteta is working on things. It's just, I still feel like our main issue is decision-making and quality in the final third. Because we're getting there. We're there. It's just the final ball or whatever, it's just not good enough.
So is that the players or Arteta? That specific point you said there.
I feel like we have to be real, though. I feel like anytime we've heard that, a coach say something I think Pep said, my job is to get you there, then you need to do, this up to you at that point. I do feel like it's kind of like 70-30. I feel like it's a little bit maybe of Mikel being a little bit predictable in the way that we do things. That's why I was happy to see like these changes with Saliba and Zubi coming and making those deeper runs. But 70% of it to me is the players. I just think like, look at Ben White, like he's come in and he's had some good moments in the final third, just picking out good passes. Instead of trying to cut it back or do some bullshit, he just hits it to where the striker is going to fucking be. Like, that's just what he does. And so I think they just need to make better decisions. That's, you know, Timber, you have to make better decisions when you get up there. You must.
He was poor yesterday, but we love him.
I agree. I think that was one of his rare poor games. And our wingers, you know, when you get, can you get the cross off earlier? Do we need to chop? Can we just hit it across the 6 and see what happens, you know?
Do you think it's because you got a left footer on the right and a right footer on the left with that? Because I remember when Saka on the left, he used to put some lovely whip balls in, similar to what you saw with Ben White yesterday, when Saka used to be number 77. Do you think it's because of that, or is that a cop-out?
That's part of it, because it makes you have to take that additional second to get it back on your better foot. But these are professional footballers. At this point, I expect Saka and Trossard to be able to utilize their weaker foot to a decent level. It should be able to touch your other foot, and you should be able to get it across the 6. So I just think they need to make better decisions quicker. You know, there's just times where instead of just taking the shot, you just see them pass, like these little weird ass passes. I'm like, this don't even look like a pattern. This just looks like you guys are like, you take it. Can you shoot? Or what? You know, so I think where Arteta's maybe his patterns are a little stale at times. I just think they make poor decisions in the final third.
I'm with you, because at the end of the day, like it's not like Arteta, regardless of, like you said, like it's 70% this and 30% that. Regardless, Arteta's going to be blamed in it. It's your team, rightly or wrongly. I just feel when I look at these players, whatever I think about them, that attacking bunch or players in the final third, if I thought you lot were shit, then I'll be more critical on the manager. You lot are too experienced, too good, and you've shown me that you can do that. Now, granted, the manager might say don't force it and whatnot, but I just think it needs to go up the gears. And yesterday, there were moments of that. But generally this season, we still need to go and get that. And you know what? The most realist thing I think you said in this 23 minutes was, at some point, we're going to need our attacking ethos to try and carry us through games. And you know what? To be fair, you could say that yesterday. So it's a bit of a weird one. What did you make of Benjamin White anyways? Because I feel he's been good in 2 games. Like, you know, he was linked with a move away. I'm happy with him and Timber, but what did you make of White in general, man? Big him up for scoring as well.
Yeah. I think Ben, since, you know, these last 2-ish games has been good. And he's doing what Ben does. Like, he's really good in possession. He has a great relationship with Saka. I think he puts the ball in good positions. You know, he just knows how to put the ball across the 6. So many of our players just don't know how to do that. He got cooked once, but that's kind of like the Ben White special. He's going to do 99% good shit, and he's going to get cooked once. That's the difference between having Timber there and Ben White, you know? So I think he's done well. To me, we need Ben White so badly, because Timber looks like he's so tired. Like, he looks like somebody that's been playing every single game for over a season now.
Which has been the case.
Well, exactly. That's exactly, he just looks, because we were talking about it in a group chat before, and one person was saying that I hope that we start Ben White and Timber against Chelsea. And I was like, that's probably our best option based on form and all that, but it doesn't help Timber at all not to be able to sit down. You know, it would have been ideal to be able to have any one of our 2 players. And I get why he did it, because honestly, MLS probably would have got killed yesterday, you know, because even Timber struggled a little bit against Esteval. But the fact that we can't sit Timber down even for a second is a little bit of a problem, you know.
Is that a problem even more because we don't know what's going on with Hincapié and Calafiori?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, that's exactly what it is. Like, we know Calafiori is injury prone, but then we brought in Hincapié, and then he's not been able to maintain any level of fitness. And I have no idea what's going on with Miles. You know, I get why.
Back him all the way, man, but he's just going to have to come out of this hurdle.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd start him against Forest, I can't lie. I genuinely would, because of He probably will go Timber and Ben White, and I don't think Ben White deserves to be dropped. But I just feel the left hand side. I wanted a bit more yesterday, and maybe it's because Timber had an off day. But like he's always thinking about being on his left. I hear what you said because Estavio was probably their best player, but I would probably go with Miles Lewis Skelly if we can't draw for a Hincapié or a Calafiori. That being said, we know this ain't the best version of Miles Lewis Skelly, and I won't begrudge if you do see Timber left back and White right back. White should be okay. You know, I mean, I remember me and you were on this platform and we were speaking, I think around the Olympiacos game when Arteta was seen shouting at White. White was looking rusty. He's doing all right. And he's got a couple of days to rest for Nottingham Forest, innit? And you know what? If Timber plays great at left back on Saturday, we're laughing. But I would probably go Timber. I'd actually probably go Timber and MLS for that game. I want to stick on like talking about individuals. Yeah, I can see certain people asking stuff in the chat. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. Yeah. We got to talk about Victor Gyokeres, man. Like, can I ask you a question? Like, would you say that we have to give Gyokeres credit because many people would say Kai Havertz is our first choice striker. He understands the system. You know, Gyokeres had no preseason. There's been like pitchforks for him to do what you did yesterday in the semi-finals of an English game, yeah, which is at this point in the season our biggest game of the season, like semi-final. Could you argue that's the most important goal of the season from Victor Gyokeres?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think ultimately, like from my perspective with him, anything, any goal, anything is positive because the pressure is definitely on him.
Don't matter how you score, you just need your name.
Yeah, I don't really care what the circumstances. He just needs to start scoring. And, you know, I can see in the comments people are saying that I need to apologize to him, but I'll just say that, like, I don't feel like anything has changed because for him, I hope that it changes things, but we bought him to be the guy that, you know, basically pushes us closer to the title and makes it easier for us to score these goals. And he hasn't been that, you guys. He just hasn't. For whatever reason, he hasn't been that. But if this can ignite, because what you notice about him is if he gets a shot off or he scores a goal, his overall play from that moment is better. After he scored that goal, you could see that instantly the confidence is up, which makes sense because he's a striker. So more shots, and hopefully this goal will make his overall game and like his overall flow better. And I get that it's not all his fault, but we definitely need a higher level from him. I do think that, you know, it's been a struggle since he's come back from injury, but he did well yesterday. I thought the assist was nice, which kind of went back to like the Burnley game, you know, the Burnley game where we were all looking at it and being like, okay, he looks like he's really putting everything together.
Like he really settled now and then he got injured.
That little assist, I was like, cool, you know, because we're playing like quick little passes. And, you know, I know that he's been Timberland boots and all that kind of stuff, but that showed a little bit of finesse. So you did the strikery thing where you were where you needed to be when we needed you to be there. And then you also did the link up. That was a really good game for him in the
context. And you fucking got in the box.
Yeah, that was it. To me, that's a good game for him within the context of it's been really, really poor, you know, so shout out to him. And he starts against Nottingham Forest, you know.
Do you think that's his best game in an Arsenal shirt?
I think his best game in an Arsenal shirt was the Burnley game. I think just overall, that was a really good overall performance because he really, but this is also good and against better opposition. So, you know.
Honestly, Jess, I felt like crying because I felt like crying. I make you right for the assist, flowers, the goal, flowers. Because you know what, you know me. I keep saying them kind of goals is all I'm interested in from Gyokeres. But the first half, I can't look beyond the first half. Like you made a shot happen for yourself where you shanked it wide. I'm actually seeing you involved. Like you always press and do all of that, but you was pressing. The first half, I think you needed it because I was of the belief here that I think we tried to do the playing into form thing. I know Jesus has been poor. Kai's just working his way back up. I was going into this game. I was saying, you know what, Marino, let's go with him up front. We tried the playing into form thing. Maybe Gyokeres in this super sub thing, like just take him out the firing line. So the first half did it for me. The second half was all right, obviously with his goals. Do you think he kicks on now? Like, do you think bit of a twofold question. Do you think he kicks on now? And do you think he can get 15, 20 goals?
I mean, yeah, he can get 15 or 20 goals in all competitions if he kicks on from here. But, you know, Arteta really, you know, I thought at first that Arteta was doing bullshit, you know, as usual, like, you know, he's good. He does this for the team. But I actually think Arteta believes it because he hasn't snatched him out when he could have. You know, we see him. Mikel loves Mikel Merino, and Mikel Merino has been fit
We're gonna
basically
get
the
on to
whole
him
season. So if he wanted to, he could have said, "Fuck it, like
easily.
I'm done." But I actually think Arteta truly believes that Victor Gyokeres can be the player that we bought, and so he can kick on. We need to get him more opportunities, which comes with the decision making, but he also needs to continue to be in the place that we need him to be. Don't not be there because you didn't get it the first time. I know he's frustrated. You can tell he's frustrated. You can tell. He didn't even celebrate his goal. He's pissed. You know, I get it. But you need to keep doing it because eventually, hopefully, these players find you. You know, so we have to. I'm skeptical, but I always want our players to do well. So I'm
Why are you skeptical? Don't you believe?
I'm skeptical. I can't just flip from it's not working to you scored a goal and assist. You got a goal and assist against Chelsea, and all of a sudden, you know, I need to see like a longer, you know, run.
It needs to be a body of work.
Yeah, but of course I want him to do well because I really wanted him at the club. I backed this badly. Like I was like, damn.
I'm not gonna lie, you do sound heartbroken, you know, when you speak about your career because you were backing it. You were backing it.
I was like, this is gonna be the guy. He's gonna do it. He can definitely play in the Prem. So there's no bone in my body that's sitting here like, why? First of all, why would I want him to fail? You guys saw how I felt when you guys talking about Kai Havertz coming back. You saw my face. Like, I want Gyokeres to do well. Like when people are like, Kai's back, he's the answer. It's dark, you know. So yeah, I want him to do
They did the same with Jesus, which is darker. Then the Kai thing. But I can't blame fans because of what we've seen with this dynamic.
Yeah, but he did well yesterday, and I hope he kicks on from here. Nottingham Forest, I'm sure he'll play in that game.
Different kind of game, but we hope he kicks on. My last question for you on Gyokeres then, yeah. Obviously, we needed this in it because we can all see Gyokeres, you know, all of the people connected to Arsenal, like the manager, all the players, they talk about his work rate. Everyone can see it. There is an element of truth of when he comes off, teams start going forward. We talk about space invading and centre half occupying and dropping in midfield and all that kind of stuff, which he did yesterday. But yesterday felt like there was a willingness to find him from these players. Like, that's the one thing I'm not pissed off with Odegaard about. There's a willingness to find Gyokeres. He's in the area. He's doing all that other stuff you have to do to play up front with beyond scoring. And you found a way to be in goal-scoring positions. Now, granted, that's not always going to happen. But my question for you is, why did it all work yesterday and it hasn't been the case? Like, why did it all work yesterday? Like, forget the goal and the assist as much as you can, but you're in the areas, you're affecting the game, you're doing everything. Everything's just working collectively from the gaffer, from the players, and Gyokeres individually. Like, why did it happen yesterday, and why haven't we seen this before? Like,
because they like before. They always do this weird. Except for Saka would try, and then sometimes Gyokeres would be there, and sometimes he wouldn't. But sometimes I feel like Gyokeres is kind of like a decoy, and it's like a decoy run to make that run that's at the back post where Ben White actually passed it to him. And most of the time they try to cut it back. But I feel like teams know we're going to cut it back because that's usually what we do. So they stand in that little spot on the 6 to make sure that our, you know, whoever's running in there doesn't get it. And I think yesterday maybe Chelsea expected us to do that, and we randomly hit it into the spot where Gyokeres is. We never hit that pass. That pass is always on, but we never hit that pass. He's always there. We never hit that pass. We always let him be the decoy and then cut it back. And it either works sometimes like it did against Bournemouth, or it doesn't in other games. So yeah, I just think that Ben White took a gamble and hit it in the spot where, because even Jesus hit that same, almost like that same area, but Martinelli was there. We rarely hit that pass. And maybe it's because it's a riskier pass and a harder pass to keep away from the goalkeeper. We always take that safe cutback, but everybody knows we're going to do it. So just take a gamble on the other one. And we did, because Sanchez is shit. You know, Sanchez is shit. So it went through and Gyokeres was there. That's the only difference that I really could see. Because Gyokeres is pretty much always there, but it looks like a decoy run. Why do you think?
I think you're right, man. I think it's a twofold. I think Gyokeres has got to be a bit more demanding. I think yesterday you was. I think, as I said, I think there was a bit more of a willingness. I do think there's been on occasions. Yesterday was probably more exaggerated, where we tried to, or at least Odegaard, you've tried to find Gyokeres. obviously, the more goals you can score, the more performances, naturally, you gain more confidence, and your teammates, are gonna try and find you. Maybe Gyokeres has or could be a bit more demanding. Maybe it's like what you said, Ben White. He just put it in the area he's gambled, and Gyokeres is gambled as well. But I want to see a bit more of that, because I do think the more you do that, the more you gain your teammates' trust. And I just think Gyokeres needs to. I make Ian Wright and Gary Lineker right in that Gyokeres needs to tell them, listen, whatever Arteta wants from me and this striker, I'm doing it. But Saka, when you've got that ball, I'm darting across that near post. Odegaard, when you're doing that little flicking stuff on the edge of the area, I'm darting towards the back post. Find me. If I don't score, shout at me. And the same needs to be done for everyone. A couple of people are asking me to ask you this, Jess. Do you think Saka doesn't trust Gyokeres, which is why he doesn't pass to him consistently? I need to see the data to back those claims, but that seems to be a common kind of thing in the Arsenal fan base.
I'm not gonna hold y'all. I think that I don't think there's a I don't trust him thing with Saka. I think with Saka, first of all, I think people are trying too hard to demonize other players because they want Gyokeres to work so badly that they're projecting this negativity onto players that are not like that. To me, it's not about that. I think Saka is trying to take on the burden and trying to take on the I'm the man. He's always been that. And so even though Gyokeres is there, like, I think he wants to cut it in and try to take the shot himself. And I think because you also have to keep it 100 too, that there's been quite a few times where Saka has put it into that area and Gyokeres hasn't been there. So let's be real. Saka's not trying to fuck Gyokeres over. Like,
why would he want his teammates to shine? Like, we're all trying to win some shit.
Like, this is Saka we're talking about, so there's that. But I think, again, they haven't played. They played together a lot, but I think there's a little bit of a struggle between
the relationship
never playing with the striker before. Exactly. You've played with false nines this whole time. And Saka feeling like this, he's spoken about it so many times. He wants to be the man in this team. So he's kind of almost trying to force it. And that's where I think he needs to use his teammates better. And when he's in good positions, try to find them. But when they're not there, we have to be honest. Like, there's been times where he just hasn't been there. And that's just what it is, Saka, really, guys? Like, but I've seen it. Like, Saka's selfish. All right,
they're on to everyone. Just they're on to everyone.
Not too much on my guy, So there, yeah.
What did you make of him yesterday? Because it's a twofold. I think we're used to a great Saka. I think he's been good. I think he's been very good in moments. I think he played a key role in the goals. Granted, I'm a Saka apologist. We know this, innit? But signs of a good player is able to affect the game in moments, and he's been doing that. But I need a bit more consistently. And I know last time we was here, you spoke about the money he's getting and the talisman, and we need a bit more. What did you make of him yesterday? Because I think he cooked Cucurella when the chance were on. I'm very disappointed that we never got Cucurella sent off. I did want Madueke to come on and shift Saka to the left at a point as well. But yeah, man, where are you at with it?
Yeah, I think with Saka, it's like he's hit a little bit of a wall. I think that he's been like, Saka has such a high floor that his performances are never really like the worst thing you've ever seen. But he definitely is nowhere near where I feel like he's at his best. And I don't think him or any of our other attackers have hit any sort of like flow state. They don't.
Trossard at best, and that's about it.
They're just all kind of like they need more. Like, they need to just go a little bit higher. So Saka's it's a weird one, where I want to defend him because I don't think he's selfish in a way where he's trying to like stop Gyokeres from shining. Because, like, be serious. I do think that he's trying to force things that are not on, and it's not working. And we need to just shift things around. I'd love to see him. I would love to see him off the left. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'd like to see us change things up a little bit.
Starting or like swapping in the game.
Either to throw people off. I feel like they know what we're trying to do. I feel like that's the biggest thing with Saka is, like, at a certain point, he was playing at a level that people knew what he was going to do, but they couldn't stop him. They kind of know what he's doing, and now they can stop him. So we need to figure something else out. I would love to see him pop up on the left a little bit so that we can also get Madueke in there too. I think that's
not really run centrally anymore. Earlier in the season, he was making those central runs a lot.
Yeah, there needs to be something needs to change a little bit. But no, I don't think he's necessarily playing anywhere near his best. And I feel like the main reason why it's so prominent is because he's been kind of like carrying us per se for so long. But I don't actually think our attack has clicked at all.
I'm with you with that. Like,
So
despite the goals we've scored and whatever, I think there's been some good moments in attack. We've scored some good goals. There's, I look at Villa and mainly in the Champions League, we've put teams to the sword, but on a consistent basis, there's more to come. And it goes back to what Jess said at the start, in that at some point, not just our attackers, but our attacking ethos is going to have to carry us through. But if we're saying this and still winning games, we need to look at the evident areas of warnings before they come back to harm us and just get better. Jess, we've got to be honest, man, that Odegaard, man, like yourself, I'm part of the fan club. Apart from trying to find Gyokeres, I think he was shit yesterday. I'm really only vexed at him for doing that silly flick in the area he shouldn't. Obviously, mistakes are not on purpose. Mistakes happen, but from what I believe I know of of Odegaard, you've got awareness, man. You've got eyes on the eyes in the back of your head. Then I just think you were kind of woeful, and I think that was idiotic for the first goal, but. What do you make of Odegaard? Because I remember not the last time he was here, but a few weeks ago, there was a point where he put in 4 good games on the spin. I think from Liverpool now, it's been a bit. He was all right off the bench against Portsmouth, but I'm getting a bit nervous, Odegaard, man. You know they're your one that they want to stick a knife in for less than anything.
Yeah, I think he was poor yesterday, especially for the first goal. So yeah, he was. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, because again, people got their answer. They wanted somebody else to play there and they didn't do well. So I think Odegaard should and is going to continue to play in that position. And I'm just hoping that he gains, because I don't even know if 2 games means you're out of form. I think he's had 2.
He's had 4 good games, as I said, and 2 shaky ones.
Yeah,
like
he had like 4 good games and then now, didn't have 2 good games. So I don't know what people want to change. He's just going to continue to play in that position. And to be honest, our best version, and when we started picking up a lot more points, was when he came back into the team. So yeah, it's just going to be him. I really don't know. Like, I know people want his head on a spike, but it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
We already saw what it is. Eze is now below Merino in the pecking order, if you guys haven't noticed. So so we just have to hope that he plays better. But I thought there was just several moments where I think Gabriel cleared it and it wasn't a great clearance. And then Odegaard tried to flick it or something and didn't get it. And then it flicked off of somebody, and then Zubi slipped. And then it just became this whole like catalog of errors. And then also the cross, he didn't stop the cross. I don't think he tried hard enough to stop that cross. He was just kind of like, oh shit, and where I don't expect you to be great defensively, I expect you to do better than that because you're the captain. I was okay with Merino coming in, but that's just kind of where we're at now. I think if he's not playing well, he gets snatched out, but just know that the person that's coming in is going to be Merino. And I actually, oddly enough, I think Merino deserves it. I know people do not like Merino, but he's performed well for us this season. He came straight on and we scored a goal.
Arguably man of the match yesterday. He had, obviously, you could say Gyokeres. I think Saliba was brilliant. Like, I think Zubi was good in the second half, but I feel from start to finish, like, to the minutes you played, Merino did your thing, Gyokeres did your thing, Saliba did your thing. And you said it there. Like, I was in my watch along. Like, I said, yo, Odegaard, come off. It's a Merino thing. At least for this season, there's certain conditions where that Zubimendi-Merino partnership, it can work. We can be a bit cute and clever. I actually think Merino did his thing. Nobody's expecting fireworks. In Arsenal's strongest 11, nobody wants Mikel Merino with the greatest of things. He's not a game changer, but he's done brilliant.
I need people to be, I know it's like we have our biases, and also Merino is stopping more liked players from playing in their minds.
The Eze's, the Wanyeris, all they're stopping themselves. Or the only one stopping them is Arteta, because Arteta's, like you said, there's a pecking
and themselves. No, but let's keep it real. Like, take Ethan out of the equation because he's just a kid. Let's keep it real. Eze had that position post Man City, and the overwhelming thing for him was that outside of Spurs, he didn't do enough. And so he's
even
on the bench.
The Spurs game, people were onto him, and it was more of a moments thing.
Yeah, but Merino, like, I think he's had some really good moments this season. The pass that he put in for Trossard in that one game was like spectacular. I think he had a pass the other day
on Sunday.
Yeah, he has these the way that he strikes the ball. He hit that ball so cleanly, Sanchez made a world-class save randomly, but that was going in the back of the net. Marino scores goals. He creates moments. He's slow as fuck.
He's intelligent.
And he can't move, but I think he's earned his way back into that position.
When you accept him for what he is, he's a decent squad player.
Yeah, Marino, and he had the captain's armband. He may not be high in your thinking, but he's high in Mikel Arteta's thinking.
So he's rated in the squad.
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I think, Odegaard was really poor yesterday, and he just has to hold that, next game, start over. But Marino coming in, I thought was the right call. And it's dark for Eze, to be honest. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, damn, how is he really about to get back into this team? It might be a FA Cup thing.
Well, he's gonna have to be patient, just because obviously it's not. I'm not trying to make this about Eze or Odegaard. Clearly, when Odegaard does well, I'm the first to make bear noise. When he's moving shaky, I'm the first to say it. The one thing, rightly or wrongly, that Odegaard has is he understands Mikel Arteta's system, and he's the captain. Let's have it completely honest. Where we look, if we assume remove Odegaard and slap Eze in that 10, remove Kai Havertz and play Gyokeres, that's probably what people want to see on paper. Realistically, neither player has really done much, and the players that have started haven't either. Managers are going to play favorites. We know we needed fireworks. What has shagged Eze is, I don't feel Arteta is completely confident on a consistent basis to drop a Zubi or Rice and go with our captain and Eze in midfield. So naturally, it probably would have been an Eze left wing thing and Odegaard through the middle. What shagged Eze as well is obviously Trossard. He's rightly so. He's locked that down. When you get your chance, take it. I love Eze. I think Eze's been good. I hate the fact that I haven't seen him and whatnot. But you've had moments, you've not taken them, you've not been consistent. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. Every week, and I said it earlier, I want to see Miles Lewis-Skelly. I want to make every excuse for Wang. Yeah. I want all of these guys, but everybody can't get a game and whatnot. And as long as we're winning, me and you can sit here and we can say, oh, Jess, what do you think of this? Oh, DG, what do you think of that? We're winning. When we're not winning and it's looking shaky and players are not grabbing onto their spots, then me and you can sit here and say, oh, DG, does Odegaard need to be dropped? Oh, Jess, we got to bring in Eze. You got to do this and that. As long as we get over the line, I don't give a monkeys. What do you make of this? SYC has said, does Arteta and staff also need to stop being the protagonist too much and let the attacking players cook more instead of holding touchlines and the system? Gyokeres could cook then if they let off a bit.
I just don't think there's that much evidence concretely that Arteta and the staff are, handcuffing these players to the touchlines. I think we're assuming because they're not playing well enough that it has to be Arteta. I think people desperately want it to be Mikel. And to be honest, there was a podcast that Jorginho did a year ago, and he made the comment that, Arteta does not tell our wingers to hold the touchline. He said that.
Saka all said he lets them play with freedom.
Yeah, so I think you guys just need to take the players, word on this, and he gets them into the final third, and they don't do enough. I think that maybe our patterns can be a little bit different, I think, because everybody kind of knows what we're going to do. We have similar kind of patterns, but I feel like people just don't want to admit that our players in the final third are not clinical and they make poor decisions and they don't know how to turn the screw. How many of the players need to tell you that? I mean, Jorginho has no reason to sit on that podcast and while they're talking about just random shit saying, no, Arteta doesn't tell people to hold the touchline. You actually could come central if you want to. And people are still be like, that's lies, but that doesn't align with your narrative. So I don't know. And you say like, oh, we don't play for the striker. We could play for him more, but don't lie. Saka's put that ball across there several times and Gyokeres has not been there. So
two troops can live in the same realm.
Yeah, I think it's 70-30 and our attackers are they need to get their shit together. Every last one of them as well. Not just
all of us defensively, including them attackers. The whole team needs to go up their gears because being good doesn't get you over the line. We've seen it for the last 3 years.
Yeah. And also we play against a lot of deep blocks. And so they flood the midfield and then they leave the space on the wing. So there's no real place for our wingers to go than the wing, so even if it's like Arteta's not forcing it, but the game that we have to play against most of the times allows for there only to be space there. And I'm going to be really honest. I don't think that anybody outside of Saka is going to play well coming central out of our wingers. I don't think if they come
Oh, that's
central.
harsh. That's harsh. That's harsh. That's harsh. When you say coming
Martinelli,
central, what does that mean to you?
when I say
Just so
coming
I know.
central, I mean playing in between the lines in tight spaces when the midfield is already flooded with
So I'm the
our
right winger.
midfielders and also their midfielders, and the game is condensed into one half. I don't think Martinelli coming central and trying to receive it in between the lines is going to work. Maybe Trossard, but even Trossard is inconsistent with his technical pieces as well. I think Saka's the only one. So maybe we could play different wingers in that position. I think maybe Eze could do good in those tight situations. Maybe
Ranieri as well, but that's not going to be a thing. You're
Ranieri,
probably relying on your inverted left back as well in that regard.
But I think people are being a little disingenuous about the space that we're in, and the space is out wide. So of course, when we're playing against these deep blocks, we're gonna be wide. But that doesn't mean that Arteta's saying you have to stay wide and you can't go anywhere else. But maybe some of them know that if they get the ball in that position, they're gonna lose it. You know, so
then based on what you just said there, Jess, it made me want to ask you this. It's like, if we focus and somehow learn how to break down low blocks or get a bit more in central areas, is that where the issue is? And naturally, the wide areas will take care of themselves, because if we're causing problems centrally, there's gaps out wide in it and there's overload. So are we asking ourselves the wrong questions then? And is it then a central thing basically then?
Yeah, I just think that, you know, we could tighten up a little bit. I just think that, you know, everybody that plays in those attacking positions could do better. I think
1,000,000%.
I just feel like it's a whole group thing. And I've seen us play against deep blocks and do so much better because the final ball was better, or the shots were better, or we even just taking shots, you know, so we can just do so much better. But there's just something missing with the attack right now. And then I was like, I think it was Neil said, like, Henry said, great quote, he wasn't getting the ball, but he had to understand the players who had the ball. And I think, you know, when I see people
understand your teammates, know which man can play them passes and which man can't, or how they play a pass. Someone could find you, like the Odegaards and Zubis. If I'm Gyokeres, I might be able to hand on the last shoulder. I ain't even looked. I know these men can see. For argument's sake, Martinelli head down. I might have to dumb it down a bit for him, and vice versa. Like, you've played sports, I've played sports, the chat has played sports. It's obviously exaggerated, but it's no different in the professional game. So I mean, I'll be right.
I think they need to look at their teammates and make better decisions. Because even yesterday they were kicking it long to no fucking buddy. Why are you guys kicking it? It wasn't even just Kepa, because Kepa was doing that shit. It was pissing me off.
She actually read my mind. I was just about to say
kicking it long. Why are you kicking it to Gyokeres? Why are you? He's not going to get there. He's not beating Fofana and whoever. Who was back there? Badiashile? I don't know.
Badiashile came off the bench. Fofana, just random black youths that play for Chelsea in defense. Anyways.
What are y'all doing? I saw Saka kick it to him randomly in the channel. He's not getting there. But then when Martinelli's out there, you guys don't kick it long. You're kicking it to his feet.
You put the ball in the box 9 times out of 10 when Gyokeres comes off.
Yeah, you guys need to be smarter. I just personally, as somebody that's could be very harsh towards Mikel at times, I think our attackers just need to do fucking better. I think it's 70% them. They're in the final third a fucking lot. But when I see you guys kicking it and it's like the quality of the pass is not good or the decision is poor, Mikel can't get into your head and make you do better, baby. You got to do it on your own. You know,
like Arteta can give you the information, and it's not to absolve him of any blame, but he can give you all the info in the world. At the end of the day, you don't need to go out there. And as much as I think sometimes it is a bit too scripted, sometimes I think, especially in the final third, he could focus more on what we can do. As much as I feel we haven't learned as a team, attack is a form of defense. At the end of the day, you lot are grown individuals. Fair enough if it was Miles Lewis, Skelly, Ranieri, a young Saka, bare kids out there. You lot are experienced enough. You lot have learned experiences. We find ourselves talking kind of about the same thing. So I can only imagine what the players are saying. Do you think we'll do business in January? Because I've had this question up for a minute. Neither do I.
I don't. I think the most we'll probably do is do a pre-contract with Boehly for the summer or some shit like that. But
if we're lucky, if we're lucky, would you make a Saka in central areas long term? Anyways, that don't necessarily mean a false 9 or whatever. Like, do you think we could get more out of him? Because that is something Arsenal fans say. If we play him central, naturally, you know, we could do something there. Because I do think that's an underrated trait of Saka, his ability to play in tight spaces.
I think Saka would do better if he could do more central shit. Like, I don't think he needs to play the 10, But I think one of his better
Drifting there, yeah.
qualities is that when he drifts in there, you can't take the ball off of him. Like, if they can't take the ball off of you, just give it to him in central areas and let him fucking dribble, because he's either going to get fouled or he's going to get in there and take a shot, you know? So I think that we should do more of that. But maybe that's one thing where maybe Mikel could do a little bit better is, because I do think that we do play like that position bullshit, whatever it's called, where everybody has their area, and only certain players are given license to move, like the left back or the random game where he allows Odegaard to go from side to side. I think there should be license for the wingers to switch positions more. We do it every once in a while, but I don't think we do it enough. And there's at some point I need to see Saka and Madueke play together. I'm so sorry. I need to see it.
I wanted that yesterday, Jess. I was baffled. I agreed with the Merino thing because I was calling for it. And obviously, I love Martinelli, Jesus. That you've got stuff that you can bring this team for a year in it. But I think both of them were shit. I didn't understand that. I was screaming Madueke. Let them do the swapping thing. I don't know who was worse. Jesus, I think he was a passenger. I actually think in the last 2 games, Gabriel Jesus has been a passenger. I know he obviously got that assist against Portsmouth. We've come to accept Martinelli in it. Like, Martinelli is just Martinelli. I think there was shit. Like, I think a lot of the subs, not necessarily Arteta's decisions, but I think the subs were shit apart from Merino. Merino done bloody well, and that's obviously on Arteta bringing him on. But I just think Merino was with it yesterday. He was in the game, innit? I don't know anything beyond that.
I think Merino gives off like grown-up vibes. Like,
he's just intelligent with it, man.
Yeah, he knows what his role is. He knows what he's good at and what he's not. Exactly. And I feel like even Norgard kind of did the same thing when he came in and played center back. No nonsense. They just kind of do their job and like move on. I feel like maybe some of the attacking players are a little rattled because they want to prove it so bad that when they come on, they start making mistakes. Like Madueke, why are you taking penalties, honey?
Talk to me about that, because some people have been doing the whole, he's got the Chelsea attitude and he's doing all of this and that. A lot has actually happened since the last time we was live. There's a lot of things I actually have to ask you, but like, talk to me about that, because I don't think it's that deep. It was a shit penalty. You missed the penalty. It is what it is. But where are you at? Because some people are, Chelsea's not.
He's not who I would have, but I think it more speaks to the desperation that I feel like some players are doing. Because when Madueke wants to play, you can tell, because he's just doing a bunch of shit, and like a lot of times it comes off. And I think he had some really good moments against Portsmouth. That he wasn't perfect, but he had frustrating moments, but I thought he had good moments too. So he's trying. You can see he wants to play. He's desperate for it. Cool. And then you have other people that come on, and I think they're shell-shocked. Like Eze. Eze to me is shell-shocked. I don't think he can get out of his mind.
I'll be down for someone that don't know what you're referring it to.
What I'm saying is like where Madueke and Martinelli had frustrating moments against Portsmouth where you just wanted them to do a little bit something different. You saw them in that game and they were disruptive. They were doing the most. And then you had like Ethan, who I thought had a pretty good game against Portsmouth and looked clean and was doing stuff. Merino got the ball. He was doing stuff. As much as people cuss Merino, he was doing shit. There was only one player that you didn't see shit from the whole game, and that was Eze. And I don't think that's because of anything other than he's shell-shocked, and he's the opposite of Nani. Nani is like, try hard when I want to play. I think Eze is like, shell-shocked now. Like, I don't want to make a mistake, so now I'm just kind of passengering it around. Like, we need.
Is that scary for you then? Because Eze, like, we want you to take risks, surely.
Yeah, I think so. But then I think also, it's different when you play in the midfield and you make a mistake.
As we saw yesterday, it's more.
It's hard. It's worse than when you're a winger. So, yeah, I just think that we're going to need all those players in the second half of the season. You can tell that they're kind of wanting it maybe a little bit too much, but that Portsmouth game, I think, said quite a bit about where we're at with the mental side of our attackers. We have our tried and true, we know who are going to be starting, that we can kind of rely upon, the Trossards and Saka, and then everybody else. What do we know we're going to get from them? Like, what?
I know you're going to work hard. That's about it. Goals and assists, I don't know. And if you like, as much as I love Gyokeres and I was being silly, I don't know if you're going to do that against Nottingham Forest. And if you do it against Nottingham Forest, I don't know if me and you are sat here in February, March, if we're feeling the same way. And it's not just
Agreed.
him, but you said it there. That's why, man, need everyone. I need Kai to get up to full fitness. I even think people are putting too much on Kai. And a bit like with Gabriel Jesus, I think a lot of people don't accept players for what they are. Like, there's qualities Kai can bring us. There's qualities Marino can bring us. There's qualities Jesus can bring us. But I think there's a lot of recency bias. Don't let, because Gyokeres was stinking up the joint, make you put Kai and Jesus at some level that they're not.
Yeah, that they're not at. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. They just all need to go up a couple percent. And, I still think that they will have good seasons. They just need to relax, and when they get a moment, we're going to need them. This whole month is going to be packed full of games. The rest of the season, hopefully, it'll be packed with a bunch of games. So you're going to get your moment. When you get it, you need to perform. And I just feel like some players are not able to rise it. And then it's the players that people don't like that are rising it, but don't get any credit, like Marino. It's
Pete Jess, you know what annoys me?
Have done quite a bit this season. I said Marino and Trossard have done quite a bit this season for players that nobody really rates, but then players that aren't doing anything are like, we need to play so-and-so. Well, we did, but they didn't do anything. So now where do we go from here?
Of course, like, you're right. And that's my thing, yeah. And that fans always talk about no one's position safe, not like there's mad depth, but it's all fun and games until the players that you like and the players that you want to play are not necessarily playing. Of course, there's some factors you can't control. Wanyeri, it's a hierarchy thing. As you said earlier, Jess, he's got the relationship with Zubi. He's ahead of him and Eze in the pecking order. Eze's ahead of him as well. And obviously you've got Odegaard. But generally, it's been working, and I think many fans can't accept that. There's probably about 4 or 5 players that are non-negotiables. You're gonna typically start if there's a gun to Mikel Arteta's head. I want to ask you as well, like, is there a problem with managers having favorites? Because every manager's got favorites, surely. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less.
Yeah, I think every manager has favorites. I just think that fans don't like when the favorites are not the people that they want, and ultimately,
exactly.
I think a lot of times, especially like Marino is a favorite. Right. To me, it's clear that he's a favorite.
And there's tiers of favorites as well. The Kais, the Marinos, the Odegaards, they show it.
But it's very rare that you look at a favorite and you can't see a sustained amount of time where we've been at our best with them in the team. Because I can't deny that some of the best football that we played, at the back end of 23-24 had Kai in it. So Kai is trusted. And I think Trossard is somebody that's a good example of somebody that wasn't a favorite that's become one through
you make yourself
play. And that's the problem, is people want other people to be favorites, but then when they get their chance, they don't rise it. And then the players that you don't like are doing the job. So
and then you will become a
favorite. You can't say that Arteta has favorites that haven't earned it, to me, in some capacity. You may not like them, but they have at least a sustained amount of period where they've performed well. And your favorites, the fan favorites, keep it real. When have they done the same? They haven't, so Mikel has favorites, and I get why he in times have come with those players on the pitch, like hello, so they're favorites. They just are.
It's as simple as that, and every manager's got them. I'm not saying it's right. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. Everyone can't get a game, and also we've got consistency in results. As you said, at one point, Miles Lewis-Skelly was playing. Trossard, you can't lose that left wing. If you want to be a favorite, put yourself in it. Yes, we know if you're not really given an opportunity, if you've been out of the cold and then suddenly you're thrown in, we all know there's caveats, but I'm not being funny. All that matters is winning trophies in May. I would love for everybody to get a game, attackers to be up there for golden boot and assists, defenders getting their clout, but we need to just get over the line. It's genuinely as simple as that. Based on the Portsmouth game, Jess, I do want to ask you as well, like, is it time to throw Martinelli up front? Or does that change too many team dynamics? Should we just give up on the Martinelli up front thing? I was told to ask you that.
I don't know why you guys are still holding on. Like, how long?
I got to ask the questions. I was told to ask.
No, I think, as much I get it that Martinelli could be a striker, but I think you have to keep rolling with Gyokeres, especially now that he scored. I think you have to give him another 2 or 3 games at least. But yeah, I mean, you could, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I've never held on to it, because if Arteta was going to do it, he would have done it by now. and he did it once, and then he like never did it again. He did it against like he did against Sporting in that
Did it
tie
against
away
Liverpool
from
last
home.
season, I want to say away. But
Yeah,
think about all the trials we done and everything for him to get to that point. For me,
agreed.
it's not that it's wrong, but too many dynamics in Arteta's system has to change for Nelly to go up
Yeah.
front.
And I just don't necessarily feel like that's our issue. I feel like our best solution is either getting Kai fit and us going back to our settings that we had a couple seasons ago. Because before Kai got injured, he was having a good season last season. It was just everyone else was shit, to be honest. Him and Saka were doing pretty decent.
Kai's been one of our more consistent goal scorers, and I wouldn't describe him as clinical. So that raises in question collectively what we're doing in our quest of trophies, if I'm real.
Maybe if we just keep feeding Gyokeres, maybe things will get better. So I don't know if moving Martinelli from his position and starting with, I'm sure they've tried it in training. Like, I just don't think that that's the answer. The forwards just need to get better. They just need to rise it. I don't think it's a positional problem.
Yeah.
They just need to be more clinical and make better decisions.
Just need to learn to be able to. I just want to rely on my attacking players as much as generally I rely on my defenders, which I sound a bit hypocritical because I've been I've criticized my defenders several times this season and our whole defensive ethos. Like our first attacker is Raya or Kepa, like yesterday. Our first defender is Gyokeres at the moment. The whole team needs to get better. Completely off topic, but what's your lineup for Forest, man? I already know mine. I genuinely already know mine, but what's yours?
The same team that started against Chelsea, except for Kepa out for Raya.
Timber left back.
I'm not playing Miles Lewis-Skelly. He's lost me a little bit. I think.
Oh, Jess, no, get out of here, man. Jess, come on, don't keep the faith. Don't sell your stocks, man. He's here, man. He's here, man.
It's not about selling stocks, but it's really bad. Like it's not tenable. Like he needs to maybe play the FA Cup games. I don't think.
A bit dark, slightly.
I don't know. Like the only thing is like Neil saying rest Timber, throw Skelly in. The only reason why I play him is to protect Timber. That's
for argument's sake, Forest of the 3 games, well, that would have been the 3rd game. So what we played in the FA Cup, we played in the League Cup, granted it's the semi-finals and Nottingham Forest. You could argue that's the most important game of the 3. Food for thought. Because I'm throwing my hat in, man. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Timber, big up White. I love you, White. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Timber, fuck it.
Why not play Miles against Inter and Crete?
It's a good shout. But I think
the Inter game is less important than Nottingham Forest. It just is. No, it is. It is. Be serious. That Champions League game is not that important. We're not winning a trophy for being first in that league. We're just not, so we've already secured ourselves to a point where we know we're going to be in the top 4. We're going to beat Crete at home. Even if we don't beat Inter, it's really not that deep. Those are 2 games where you could actually rotate or at least throw Skelly in. But that Forest game, if City,
baptism of fire still,
whether City mess up or not, we cannot drop points in that game.
And it's going to be tough.
So yeah, sorry. The Forest game is more important. I actually would play Skelly against Inter and Crete or whatever they are and just whatever their name is. And I'd actually really rotate against Crete.
I mean, if we can't rotate against that team, if it's Karak, Crete, whatever the hell they are, respectfully to them, I don't want to.
I don't know what it is. Crete.
Yeah, I don't know what their team is in it. I've never heard of them. It's probably AI. But you are right. They're the only opportunities to quote unquote rotate. For me, with Miles Lewis-Skelly, I will say this: I'm saying that if Hincapié and Calafiori are not fit in it, I don't know what's going on. Arteta, he's got us on strings consistently with players' fitness. If they're there, then one of the 2, preferably Calafiori, would be in. For me, with Miles Lewis-Skelly, you're right. Obviously, he's got a bit of a hurdle now, isn't it? Like you had that honeymoon period where everything's going right. Now everything's kind of going wrong. Probably a bit of your confidence is there. But the reason I'm saying Miles Lewis-Skelly, and I know I'm a biased Miles Lewis-Skelly fan, it's because of what I said earlier. It's like I just think down the left-hand side, Timber, and again, you could, if you're great against Chelsea, you're great against Chelsea. I just think we lost a lot without having an inverted fullback. And to be fair, we haven't really played Miles Lewis-Skelly like an inverted fullback, but I just want a bit more down that left-hand side. Like, fuck it, you could even rest Timber and go with White, really. I just need my left-hand side to bring something. But then you are giving me food for thought because Nottingham Forest ain't going to be an easy game. We've got first world problems. They're fighting for survival. I hope I'm gassing up the game, but we imagine under the lights, it's aggressive, it's fast, it's direct. That's going to be an area they obviously target. But yeah, that's your what. So I'm going Miles again, assuming no one else is there. I'm going Miles, Lewis, Skelly, and Timber. You're going what the same 11 basically. How difficult is it against Forest? Or am I exaggerating?
I mean, every game in the Premier League, we've made a very difficult game, whether it needed to be or not. And that's my point, is the Premier League game, even when we're playing against Wolves at home, we found a way to make it very difficult. So I'm just thinking like, because what usually happens is if you let your fullbacks get cooked a couple of times and they get into those areas and they get half chances, all of a sudden we concede a goal, right? And so I'm trying to keep that down as much as possible with Timber. I totally understand, like, you don't want to keep MLS on the bench too long, because then you won't be able to.
At this time, he's just a tool, man. And if them men are not there, you can invert. I just want to get Lewis Skelly in the room, bro. You're savage. Be savage today, bro.
Skelly has played a lot in the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he has. That's where his minutes have come from. I'm sure there was a point in the season he was starting there and like a no-show. This whole idea
that he hasn't played, and that's the reason why he's not playing well. He quite literally started off preseason poorly. I remember us having these conversations in preseason. I said, he don't look right. He doesn't look right. And he just has not had a good season so far. So yeah, in the Inter game is up there for him. That Carrick game is up for him. I think I'd play it safe with Timber. Also understanding, like you said, that impacts our ability to invert, which means it's going to affect us a little bit attacking wise. Those attackers need to just rise it. You're playing against 15th place Nottingham Forest. They got knocked out of whatever competition that they were just playing against, like a lower level.
They want to get rid of Zinchenko as well. And they've got no cancellation clause. Edu strikes again. I actually owe you an apology, Jess. Yeah, but I still maintain 15% of what I said in that. If I'm gonna praise all the good things that happened while Edu was here, and like I have to like all the good things that Arteta did in terms of recruitment and whatnot, I have to indirectly give Edu credit. But then also I was on the L's, and I remember you was telling me, and I was like, "You're being a bit harsh." But he's a crook, you know, because I've been looking back. This the amount of things you fucked up at Arsenal Football Club, and what you're doing at Nottingham Forest. I missed. You scored that. Edu is a crook. Like a crook. How is there no cancellation clause?
One of the worst decisions that Marianakis has made is choosing him over Nuno. Like, I know Nuno's not necessarily doing well at West Ham, but West Ham are a sinking ship. Every manager that's gone there has struggled post Moyes, right? But
yeah,
there's just, they had something good. Nuno had that team clicking. They got into Europe. He was doing well. And then all of a sudden, you know, all Nuno asked for was Adama Traore. That's all he wanted.
That's a pretty fair request. Why he wants that, I don't know, but
that's all he wanted. And you couldn't supply him because you wanted to fill that team with all your Kia clients. And now you guys are shit. And it's just, why would you?
Facts, to be fair. I always believe in giving everyone a fair trial. You're a crook, my brother. Like, I don't know how, in hindsight, how did you last here that long? Jess, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, yeah? Like, not the whole thing, but I want to scroll to the end. Leave my tabs alone, by the way. Half of these things are for you. Like,
crazy.
Leave them alone. These are for you.
Because I would have anxiety looking at all those. Overstimulation in that. So.
I knew you was gonna comment, man, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I'm trying to scroll to the actual bit that I wanted to ask you about with William Saliba and get your thoughts on it. Yeah, what do you make of this? Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Where is it? Oh yeah. So we have to win titles, and at the end of the season, we'll say that we have the best partnership in the world. We have to prove it on the pitch with titles, of course. And then he went on to say, we want to win everything. I think I'm tired of winning the season without anything in my pockets. So now we have 4 competitions. My pockets were empty last year, and now we want to win everything. The League Cup, the FA Cup, the Premier League, and the Champs. Of course, it's not easy. It's easy to say it. So we want to prove it on the pitch, and we'll give everything to win every title. What do you make of that from William Saliba?
Listen, you guys have been around long enough to know that we're in a good position where players actually want to stay long enough to see it actually happen, you know, because we've been in positions where we've had players that have dumped us because we weren't acting. So I think that's a testament to the club that they haven't won anything yet, or we haven't won anything with this group, and players still want to stick around and see the fruits of the labor, right? Because before they would just dump us. They were already talking to other clubs. They were gone. They were at rivals, you know. That being said, we need to just win. Like at this point, like it's so hard, having these conversations about anything outside of, are we going to win? Are we going to win? I don't care about anything else. I just want, are we going to win? Are we going to win? Because we need to. This season is so, this is the one. I think we felt like we needed to win before. I think we felt like we needed to win before, but we definitely need to win now. Players are signing on longer term deals. I don't think Saka's ever signed a 5-year deal, so I think all of them have been 4. So the trust is there, but we need to win something. So yeah, I think I love what they're saying, and we definitely have the best center back pairing. There's no doubt for me with that, but you got to put your money where your mouth is, and that 6-point gap, hold on
It
to
means
it with your
nothing.
life.
It means nothing at this moment in time. I'll take any gap, but it means nothing. I wanted to ask you this because before I had you on the platform, I went live by myself in it, and somebody said, "Yeah, like we've got a world-class team," and I disagreed. I said and I just want you to add if you agree or disagree. Yeah, I said we haven't. We've maybe got some world-class players. We've got a good team, but I believe world-class teams, they go down in history, whether that's Invincibles, whether that's Chelsea sides, City sides, Spurs sides. Now I'm chatting definitely not Spurs, PSG, Real Madrid, the list goes on. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, you're not wrong. I think this team will go down in some very crazy conversations the minute that they win, but they have to win. They have to win. When they win something, I am putting so many of these players into crazy conversations.
Some nasty conversations. Forget the
Yeah.
world-class players, yeah. Marino is world-class. Kai Havertz is world-class. Gyokeres is world-class. Fuck it. Miles Lewis-Skelly and one yet, bro. If we win, I'm going to be a villain.
Yeah, but we have to win first.
Exactly.
So, and I think it says a lot that some of our players have been able to kind of establish this world-class title without winning anything. That's how good they are. If we don't win, we'll go down as the best team to have never won.
The best nearly men in the history of the sport.
Yeah, so we need to win. But yeah, very unserious conversations I'll be putting these guys in. Very unserious. Like,
I'm gonna ask you this as well every week, yeah. And like every week in January that we do these streams. Does Wanyeri need to go on loan? He's been linked with West Ham and this one and that one. Apparently, Wanyeri's camp have said nah to West Ham, and Arsenal are not at this moment in time prepared. Like, does he need to go out on loan? Great performance against Portsmouth. Never saw him. Might not even see him against Nottingham Forest on the bench.
I don't know. It's weird. I think maybe I'm holding on to him because I'm just afraid we're going to go through another injury crisis post January, and we know we're not going to go into the market and really do anything. So I would hate to get to a certain point and not be able to utilize Ethan, right? But I mean, he could go out on a loan, but I don't know. It's a weird one because I'm also thinking to myself too, like, where are you going to get this playing time even next season? Like, what's about,
what I think Ethan's thing is? Yeah, like I think Ethan and Miles Lewis-Skelly, it's a weird one because I actually think this year, obviously I want you to play some more ball, but I actually think this year you're in the roles that you should be, because one thing I didn't listen, Wanyeri in your minutes last season, you did your thing. Obviously, Miles Lewis-Skelly, life came at you fast last year. You took it in your stride. And if you're good enough, you're old enough. I just feel during the Emirates era, we've been in this weird trap where we start relying on these players. Like winning and losing is genuinely on that. We saw that with Smith Rowe, actually Nelly to a degree, Saka the best example. And I like the fact that they've kind of reverted back into these roles, if that makes sense, Jess. Same. I see the positives and negatives because he could go on loan and it actually could set you back because you're probably not fully match fit. You're not been exposed to playing twice a week. You got to remember, like, he's not going West Ham, but West Ham or Bournemouth. If Jess is Mikel Arteta, yeah, and she's got Wanyeri, I'm gonna be like, yo, Jess, no, don't worry. You want to play him in midfield? I'm gonna do all of that. I'm gonna tell you everything. Well, you see when he signs, it's not that I might not play him. He might just be the best option I've got right wing, and my midfield is great. So you might be in and out the side. Now you could caveat that with some minutes are better than no minutes. You said the realest thing in that. I do think unless Arteta's had a serious conversation, you probably need to go on loan next season if nothing's changed. And a part of me just feels maybe some players have to go in it. Like, I'm not saying to sell Marino or Kai Havertz. I mentioned them because they can play as midfielders. Maybe those guys need to be available for Wanyeri to get minutes, but you can't have a season like this next year.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe like now that you're saying that, Jesus is somebody that will likely go, and he can definitely take his role. for sure. Because I think next season we'll still have, Kai's getting a new deal and Gyokeres will still be here. So, he's somebody that Arteta said can play
Trossard might not be here
full-time, but is
forever.
very versatile, so maybe they will be space for him, but ultimately I think he's fine where he's at. I think last year gave me unrealistic expectations about where he's, goodness me, that hair. He doesn't have a friend in the world, does he?
Everybody said that,
Goodness, he's shocking looking. No offense to him, but like it's just not great. Also, I would never take him at Arsenal.
You wouldn't take
Never.
Anthony Gordon?
Hell nah.
He's not my first choice, but he's not
I
dead.
have standards. I have standards.
What, you think he's dead? Like,
I do not like him. I'm so sorry. When we get let's go outside of this fucking league and go get somebody of a certain level, a certain cachet, a certain class, a je ne sais quoi. I don't want you. I don't want you.
Drop a name then.
He's so frustrating. He's ass. I don't want him.
To be fair, yeah, Jess, you're right, because Newcastle fans say that it's like, don't get gassed off the match of the day highlights, because when like on a consistent basis, he's a bit flash in the pan. Don't shoot me, people. But that made me think, oh, we've got Eze. I love Eze, but he's been a moments man. I don't want another moments man. I'm having Barcola, but you lot are gonna sign. You lot are gonna make Arsenal sign Barcola, and you lot are gonna act brand new, because the level you lot put Barcola at, he's got potential, but the level you lot put him at, he is not there. If you think Martinelli's frustrated, he is more frustrating, but less frustrating. He's less frustrating because he's better. We'll be saying the same things. And as we get better as a team, I think I speak for Jess, myself, and everyone in the chat. We kind of want more inevitable attackers, because we've got players that are not bad, but we've become accustomed to, we know we're going to score goals. Who is going to get those goals? I know you got a goal, Jess. So I've got two more things to ask you.
Yeah.
Any hope of Julian Alvarez? Apparently, Atletico Madrid are braced on offers and whatnot. There's 150 million price tag. We've been linked.
We must.
You really still doing that for another striker, though?
If we're good teams, don't ask those questions. They just put the money down. We must. Like, as much as I love Gyokeres and I feel like he'll come good to a certain extent, you cannot let this guy go anywhere else. That is our striker.
That means we don't get a left winger in it.
That's our striker for the next 10 years or so. Like, that just ends everything. You have him, you have Gyokeres, you have Kai if you want to do nonsense. Like, yes. And then you get a left wing, and then you're done.
You know we're not getting no left winger and Alvarez, though. You know if we get Alvarez, he's probably going to play left wing.
Well, let me put it this, we're going to get rid of some players. That's for sure. I think if you get rid of Jesus, and no offense, guys, if you move Martinelli on, there's space.
Or Trossard, all three. If we're two of the three or whatever.
You can move on Trossard, but we need new blood. I just feel like there's no inevitability. I really like Julian Alvarez. We know he's going to be good in this league. He knows, he's the one. If he's on the market, we must, because we know we pretty much got Gyokeres because we had to. Huh?
I think you turned down Arsenal Alvarez. I genuinely think it. And I'm not, that's not to disrespect our club. I think you would listen and that.
I've never seen us be interested in him.
True, but you've won everything at City. You're in Spain where your family's cool. Obviously, Argentinian life is probably more akin to Spain than here. You want to come back to
He wants to win things, though. He wants to continue winning.
Barca.
If things go the way that they've been going for Atletico Madrid, this will be like the first time that he's not won anything in his career. Not only that, but I feel like, if you guys haven't noticed, La Liga does not have the spending power that the Premier League does. So Atletico Madrid, are not going to sell cheaper just to Barcelona because the sake of it. But
yeah, but when Barca make the bird cool, though, Jess, man. And plus, Messi probably puts in a favor as well, man.
Listen, if he's on the table, we need to at least be in the conversation.
100.
That's the type of player that you get at least get in the conversation for, and then go get Yildiz and then go about your business.
And I need some more defenders. Last one then. What do you make of this? Because he's been bloody brilliant, in my opinion, at City. So, man, you're called Arsenal and asked the club to make a move to sign him this month, or guarantee a summer move before he joined Man City. However, both Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta don't do guarantees. That was allegedly said by AFC Camden. Like,
oh, well, I don't know. If we wanted him, we would have got him in the summer. He was available in the summer. We went for Eze instead. To me, it was pretty clear that you know, we weren't interested, and hopefully it doesn't bite us in the ass. But I think some people also just like want the club to look like they made a mistake. If you wanted him, like specifically that account was like very devastated over like Isak and kept talking about it after the fact. It's over. He's at a new club. Who cares what's the reason why we didn't get him? We didn't get him.
Facts. Move on, deal with who's at the club or who we can get.
Yeah, I think to me, that's just trying to make people look bad. But I have to skate.
So yeah, man, on that note, we're gone, people. Make sure you're following Jess and whatnot. Final question, Jess. Give us a scoreline prediction.
For
I'm going 2-1. Forest, obviously.
Nottingham Forest. Let's be positive. 3-1.
So no clean sheet from both of us. But yeah, people, Jess is going to have to get out of here. We big her up for being here as always on Thursdays. Make sure you're liking, you're commenting, you're subscribing. Go subscribe to us in the title and in the description. Jess, see you till next time. Chat, one love. We're gone. Peace.
Bye, guys.
She actually said bye for once. Peace. One love.